Man, y'all was not expecting this. 100 subscriber celebration. You guys did a fantastic job. Shout out to y'all. Y'all are expecting me to review something good. You know what I'm saying? A top tier book, a top tier episode, something we could all have a fun time with, enjoy with, some Hall of Fame content. Well, this is Hall of Fame content, but this is not the kind you were expecting. This is the doo-doo Hall of Fame. This is the Garbaggio Hall of Fame, all right? I'm talking about shit-stained walls. I'm talking about the office smells like a sewer. I'm talking about the hallways are littered with disease-infested raccoons. And I'm talking about the employees that run up this Hall of Fame shop is essentially Chicago crackheads. A few LA crackheads thrown in there too, just to spice it up, all right? This is a terrible book. It's a bad book. But does it mean that I specifically hated it that much? No, I think this book is somewhat overhated because, all right, the beginning is not good. The beginning is awful. All right, it's just objectively terrible beginning, and then the ending is pretty bad too. But the middle portion, I think, has some fun stuff in it, and I think it's actually quite quirky. As useless as that term is, quite quirky. It's got some fun stuff to it, and I feel like it makes sense for a kid's horror superhero story. And then the climax, it is crazy. It's some Spy Kids level franchise writing over there, but that's fun, and I enjoy that. And again, when you're dealing with a book that literally has the title in it being Dr. Maniac, I would expect some maniacal things to go on. And what's better for my 100 subscriber celebration than to talk about a book that has maniacal stuff in it, considering I'm a maniacal reviewer and I have maniacal ramblings and I'm in an insane asylum type of room. It's perfect to talk about. So let's dive into it. All right, we're going to be talking about Goosebumps Horrorland. That's right, another Horrorland review. We're talking about Goosebumps Horrorland. The entry this time is Dr. Maniac versus Robby Schwartz. Now, as far as I know from this book, this is quite a universally, I don't want to know about hated one, but I know people say it's not good. And I understand that. A lot of people told me that this book is not good. I know some people absolutely despise it. I saw Monster Blood say it's the worst Goosebumps book he's ever read, which was, I was like, yo, that's a bold statement right there. But I had heard bad things about the Dr. Maniac franchise in terms of this book, in terms of Dr. Maniac Will See You Now, which I heard a lot of bad things about. So I was preparing myself. But then I have some people who thought that it was, kind of good. Michael Goosebumps fan said that, Dr. Maniac's one of the best villains. Now, I'm assuming that he said that statement while he was on some Joe Rogan type of narcotics. Just kidding, Michael. I know you don't take drugs, but I don't know what you were smoking literally or figuratively when he said that. But Dr. Maniac, I don't like him as a villain. I think he's pretty trash. I think the beginning and ending to this book is not good. But I do have to agree with Michael in the fact that I do think it's a little bit overhated. And some other people that I spoke to, they said it's kind of overhated too. And I have to agree with that because it has a lot of, I think, fun stuff in it. Stuff that, all right, if you take it seriously, you're not going to enjoy. But if you take it from the idea that this is supposed to be like a parody of superheroes and, Stein's take on superheroes and comic books, you're going to enjoy the middle portion and the climax. You'll think it's pretty fun, pretty wild, and it's for a good ride. It reminds me of stuff that I would probably see out of Stein's craziest books. So, yeah, I got to appreciate it for that. This is going to get a low score still. I'm not going to spoil the score till the end. Still going to get a low score, but I would recommend you guys read it. That's crazy. Right, this is a Hall of Fame bad book. Why would I recommend you guys read this? Well, I think that you're going to like a good portion of it. It's going to be very rough to get into, and it's going to be very rough to get out of. Pause. You know how that can be taken. And low-key, it's still true, but you know how that can be taken. But either way, pause on that, but it's factual. You're going to have a hard time getting into it, a hard time getting out. Kind of like avoiding the bill collector. I wish I were lying. Okay, anyway. Off to the review. What is this book about? This book is about Robby Schwartz. As you can tell from the title of the book, Robby Schwartz is the main character. He is a comic writer. He loves reading comic books. He loves writing comics. He's actually an author. He writes his own comics, right? Probably posting it on, I don't know, Reddit or something. I don't know where he's posting, MySpace or something, because I don't know how kids post that stuff. But he's making comics, and he's going on a camping trip with his family. And then as he's going on a camping trip with the family, he has his mom and dad. He has his younger brother, Sam. Sam kind of gives him a hard time. He's kind of like that typical younger brother, but he still, kind of pays attention to what Robby does, and he listens to his comics, he reads them. So, granted, not a terrible family. It's kind of like your average standard Goosebumps family. At least the brother reads the comic books and actually does it. My mom doesn't watch any of my videos. Thank God for that. So yeah, that's kind of the family setup. They're going on a camping trip, and the parents are emphasizing, Robby, put the comics down, right? Get off your, equipment. Don't touch the comics. Just enjoy nature. Just have fun. Do camping stuff. Enjoy the time with your family. And, Robby, I feel like, is probably what Stein would be like. Because I heard Stein in interviews, and he talks about how, he didn't want to go outside. He wanted to be inside writing on his typing on his typewriter, just doing stories. And he always told his mom, I don't want to go outside. Robby's that kind of embodiment. And as they go on this trip, Dr. Maniac shows up. That's right. This comic book character that Robby Schwartz had created comes to life. And you get to see how wild this guy is. I mean, you have a scene of Dr. Maniac holding up a dead, rotten squirrel in front of Robby's face and then start eating it, like eating it straight raw. Like, I'm talking about Gordon Ramsay. It's raw. That kind of level of raw, bro. And I'm like, yo, that's disgusting, dog. I almost yacked. I'm not going to lie to you. I almost yacked. I almost threw up, all right? I didn't even throw up when I watched The Human Centipede, but I threw up imagining that because, ugh. I mean, we've had dead animals around my neighborhood because I live by a forest preserve, so you end up with, dead animals everywhere sometimes. Unfortunately, that's what it is. And the smell, the worms, the flies, and just him eating, ugh, disgusting. Effective gross out and disgusting. And Dr. Maniac shows up, starts threatening Robby. And it's a very terrifying scene where Robby essentially, sees him out in the wild and, sees him at nighttime and, his brother might get kidnapped. His family's getting threatened. It's a very dangerous scenario. However, it's not real. Yeah, this book retcons, I think like 4 times or 3 or 4 times in the beginning of the book where for I don't know why Stein did this. You will have a scene of Dr. Maniac showing up in the real world, tormenting Robby and his family at this camping trip, and then it turns out to be part of Robby's comic strip. So it gets retconned, and it turns out that Robby is just making a scene, and his brother is reading it, or he's creating it, and then you're under the impression that you're back in real life. Something happens again, it gets retconned. You're back to the, Robby making that part of a scene on his comic strip in which his, brother or friends are reading. That happens multiple times. It's annoying. It's objectively terrible. I don't know why Stein wrote it that way. But yeah, it makes it very rough to get into the book. However, there comes a point where now you're back to actual reality. Snap back to reality. Oh, there you go, gravity. Slim Shady, shout out to him. You get back to reality, and you have his little brother Sam, and you have his friend. I think it's a girl. I forgot her name. It's a girl. Robby's friend who reads his comics as well. And as they're reading the comic, Robby heads down with his friend to go into the living room, sees his parents, and then he hears a sound upstairs. And as he runs upstairs, he sees that his little brother Sam, who was in the room with him, is no longer there, and the window's open. So he's like, what the heck just happened? And he goes there, and he sees a piece of clothing that is hanging on the window sill or somewhere there. He finds a piece of clothing left behind, and it doesn't belong to his brother. It belongs what seemingly should be Dr. Maniac's outfit, which is like, what the, yo, like, it's like, yo, are we back into a comic strip? Like, how is Dr. Maniac in real life here? That's what Robby starts to think. He doesn't know if this is going to be, maybe something else going on. Maybe there's a prank being played on him. He doesn't know really what's going on, but he knows his brother is missing. And potentially his brother basically got kidnapped because when he headed up there, the reason why he headed up there was because his friend, the girl, came down screaming and told him that the brother got kidnapped. And she has to admit that Dr. Maniac stole his brother, kidnapped his brother, which freaks out the whole family. They think this may be one elaborate prank. They're trying to pry it out of these two to figure out where Sam went. and they can't figure it out. So, and again, I think it's Sam. I think that's the name of the younger brother. I have a hard time remembering Goosebumps names because they don't matter. I remember Robby Schwartz because he's in the title. So basically, they have to figure out this mystery. The police are called. The police are freaked out. They're trying to figure out if these kids are lying, what really happened. But they come down to the conclusion that, yes, okay, the younger brother got kidnapped. They're going to do their best to find it. Obviously, this is a very stressful situation. And as the police are investigating the house, Robby sees on a TV screen that this host of this, I don't know, the TV show, not like a late night show, but this talk show, is talking to a person who looks like the Purple Rage. The Purple Rage is another one of Robby Schwartz's comic characters, and I guess it's this guy who's dressed up as a wrestler. He's purple. Oh, he gets so angry that he turns purple. Purple Rage is a fantastic character. He's basically an angry wrestler that always comes up with stupid sayings that are really, really funny. He'll be like, you know what verbs my nouns? You know what syrups my pancakes? Like, that's the type of goofy WWE humor that I like, the old WWE humor. And the reason why I love it is because the Purple Rage reminded me of actually an alien from the Ben 10 universe, Wrath. Wrath is that tiger-looking wrestler dude who is based off of Wolverine and Hulk Hogan put into one. And, you know, the way that Wrath always talks whenever, you know, Ben 10 turns into him, he gets influenced by the alien's personality, and he'll be like, let me tell you something, Gordavia of the Virgo supercluster universe, I am going to kick your butt, and I'm going to knock out your lungs so far that you'll be breathing out your ass. He won't say exactly that, but he'll say stuff like that. Like, he'll be like, you know what, Kevin Levin, I'm going to beat you up so bad your mama's going to wish she kept her legs closed when she saw you. He says stuff like that. He says WWE kind of stuff, right? Stuff that you would hear probably like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson say in the Fast and Furious universe, just out of pure anger and just straight smack talk. And I like that kind of stuff. I enjoy that kind of content. So I enjoyed the Purple Rage a lot because here he sees the Purple Rage giving an interview on this talk show, and he's talking just like that. He's like, you know what, daisies, my petunias, and it starts going angry, starts going crazy, and then Robby's freaking out. He's like, how is another one of my comic characters in real life? And then when he's about to tell his parents and he heads back to the talk show, Purple Rage is no longer there. So he's like, what's going on? He has to convince his best friend that this is not a hallucination. Dr. Maniac and his other comic characters may be coming to life. This may be real. And then they head to the TV station, try to figure it out. And he starts encountering certain figures. And you may find out, you know, whether all this is real or not. Whether it's all a hallucination and all the crazy stuff that gets involved with it. Again, this is like very much like a Spy Kids type of plot. It is crazy. There's a lot of wild stuff that happens. Purple Rage is a fantastic comic character to see talk and do dialogue of. I love his dialogue. And you get a scene with Purple Rage. Basically, you get to see his lair. You get to see Robby put into a very terrible situation with his life on the line. And you get to see other characters and potentially Dr. Maniac doing some wild stuff as well. So basically, it's a very, very fun plot. Towards the middle section and climax, you're going to have a fun time with it. I had a fun time. It's wild. It's crazy. I love some of the dialogue with Purple Rage. I think Purple Rage should have been the main focus of this series. I don't think Dr. Maniac. Dr. Maniac is just really a trash character. I'm not gonna lie to you, Dr. Maniac is really the reason why this whole thing is trash. Aside from the retconning stuff in the book is terrible. But Dr. Maniac is just a trash villain. You know, he's just like, because I'm crazy. Like, he does like that kind of stuff. Like, right, like he'll just say random stuff and he's like, I'm saying it because I'm crazy. I'm wild. Like he's talking like, you know, Jim Carrey, The Mask, except without the charisma. He's just doing it like, you know why I'm wearing these leopard skin tights? Because I'm crazy, because I'm wild. Only a wild guy would wear that. Like, he talks like the Tasmanian devil from Looney Tunes. It's like, I can't really get behind that. There's no thought behind that. That's just parody, stupidness just to be stupid. And I can't really appreciate that. But Purple Rage, on the other hand, he has a whole gimmick to him. He has a whole crazy look to him. And his stuff is actually funny. Like, you know, he has, you know what verbs my nouns, you know what syrups my pancakes, you know what daisies my petunias. Like, you got to come up with these really dumb sayings that lets you know that Stein's actually putting in thought to make them funny. and the fact that he's built off of rage and getting so angry, like that's a whole gimmick to him. It just makes him a lot more funny, makes him more interesting of a character, makes him honestly more imposing as a villain compared to Dr. Maniac. And yeah, like I just enjoy him a lot. Maybe it's because I have anger problems and I have road rage at times, and seeing, you know, the rage within a goofy parody superhero, you know, being there, and then also on top of that, you have that WWE kind of smack talk going on. It's just a perfect recipe for fun. I enjoy it. I like it. And yeah, and then you get to the ending, and the ending to the book is where it kind of plummets. But I'm not going to spoil the rest of the book. I want you guys to go read it. Go dive into the craziness yourself and see what you think about it. Me personally, what's the score I'm going to give this book? I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. And you know what? Maybe upon later, it's like a 4 out of 10 or a 4.5. Depends on how generous I'm willing to be. But I do think that, you know, even though it's a bad book, even though it has a lot of bad parts to it, it has cringe, it has all that stuff, I think because of the premise of the story and what Stein's going for, I think a lot of the story you can have a fun time with. You just have to not take it seriously. Don't take it seriously. You're going to have a fun time. And yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, that's fine. If you love it, that's fine. You know, again, I know guys who, like Monster Blood says it's the worst book ever. And when I was going through the beginning and I was going through the ending, I was like, I can understand why people really hate this book. And then people who love it, they probably just focused on the craziness aspect, this Spy Kids type of plot. And I'm like, yeah, I can understand why you enjoy it a lot. And then people who say they love Dr. Maniac, that's all I'm saying. But, you know, that's all it is to this review. It gets a 4.5 out of 10, 4 out of 10. It's not a good book. It's going to have some bad parts to it, but it's fun enough that I recommend you read it. So go check it out. Go have a fun time. For those of you who like comic books, superheroes, and you like what Stein does with that kind of parody stuff, you should go read this. You'll enjoy it. If you hate what I mentioned in the beginning with the retconning and the cringy dialogue and the cringy kind of characters and stuff like that, maybe this is not going to be your type of book, so maybe go check out something more. If you want a scary book, this is not that. But if you want a wild adventure, this is probably for you. And that's probably the best way I can describe it without spoiling it. So yeah, that is my review for Dr. Maniac versus Robby Schwartz. A bad book with some fun, so bad it's so good qualities to it. Yeah, and that's all I have. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, thank you for the 100 subscribers. And for all of you who are watching this video who may not be subscribed, I love you as well. But I would love you more if you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit it. Hit that like button. It's free. We live in a world of capitalism. Free stuff is welcomed here in America. If you're not from America, out of the kindness of your heart, still hit that like button, still hit that subscribe button. It's free. Support the community, my community, and let's help build it up together, because I love when you guys are involved. I have so many great people who comment down in my comments their thoughts and opinions, who comment on my community posts. You guys are all fantastic, all 100 of you. Some of you guys are YouTubers and reviewers that I love. Some of you guys are just people in the community that are always asking me, you know, what I'm up to, checking in on me, giving me your thoughts and opinions, which is super cool. A lot of you guys are like my friends out there. A nice big bubble. That's what the Goosebumps community is. A nice bubble to get involved with. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you to all the subscribers and viewers. Thank you for tuning in this review. Hit those below. And yeah, stay tuned for more content to come. I think the next video will probably be less lighthearted. It's probably going to be me ranting about the new episode of the new Goosebumps show. Again, probably sometime. And then I have some point horror from R.L. Stine to talk about. I'm not going to reveal what the titles of those are, but some of you may or may not know. So, yeah, stay tuned for more content to come. That's all I have for today. And deuces. Goodbye, y'all. I swear to God, man. Yo, that eating a dead squirrel, that really got to me. Because recently, I damn near felt like I went through that, because I think some raccoon took a shit in a recycling bin over by my house, and it's been in there for God knows how long. Dude, I was like, what is the smell going on? I opened up that trash can, y'all. I damn near died, bro. I'm talking about that was with me for the rest of the day. And I was like, yo, I have never experienced the real life version of what reading Why I'm Not Afraid of Ghost from Ghost of Fear Street would be like. I was like, finally, I found the real life example of what reading that book was like. And now I can finally have an example to use to people when they ask me how I felt about the book. Which is why I'm never rereading again. Which is why I'm never opening that trash can again. My mama can take care of that.